Howdy, Aggies. Welcome to the Aggie Central podcast. Very important game coming up this weekend against the Florida Gators. We are a 3-5 team at this moment. Never thought I'd say it. And I never thought I'd say we'd be on the brink of missing a bowl game either, but here we are. Getting a W here would go a long way to solidifying a bowl berth. But more than that, we got to grab momentum. We need to finish this season strong. So this is a huge game for us. We got 4 games left. We need to get rolling. Time to do a check-in. If this is your first time to this podcast, let us know where you're listening from. I'd love to know if you're from Texas, Mississippi, Florida, wherever you're listening from, Aggie or Gator. If you're tuning in, let us know. It's really enjoyable to know how far this kind of thing stretches. So if you're not listening for the first time, you are a regular and you have not liked and subscribed yet, go ahead and do it. If you do, first round is on the house, okay? So let's jump into Florida. Let's learn about this team. Let's figure out what we're up against. Maybe we have a chance here. How are we going to attack this team? So first off, Florida. Let's stick on the offensive side of the ball. They're 46th in the nation in total offense. They're running up 422 yards per game. On the rushing side of the offense, they're 26th in the nation, probably the strongest part of their game. 199 yards per game, 5.9 per tote. And that's good enough for third nationally. Passing, they're doing 86th in the country, so not very strong. Good enough for 223 yards per game. But if you factor in yards per attempt, which is about 8.1 for them, then it runs them up to about 41st. So here's the thing with their offense at this point. Just kind of getting the overview. It's like eating at the kettle in College Station. It's not real good, but when you factor in it's only $1 sign on Yelp, it kind of tastes a whole lot better. Or does it taste a lot better? Either way, as you can see, kettle's gone. Rest in peace. So it's a very competent offense. They're converting 40% of their third down conversions. So why are they struggling? Why is this a 4-4 team? We kind of predicted that might be kind of the case prior to the season. They might have some struggling going on. One of the reasons is the red zone conversion percentage. Right now, they convert on 76% of their trips, placing them in 102nd in the nation. What more needs to be said? That's basically like an eyesore. It's like random scooters, all over campus just kind of being, dropped here and there, kind of like this one. How many Aggies did it take to get that in there, by the way? I digress. So, they're not like, say, a team like Georgia, the number 1 team in the nation right now that just mollywopped them 42-20. Just like we said was probably going to happen coming into this game. We did that for the preseason update. We did that for the midseason update. And they got stroked pretty good. They're converting at 97%. Georgia's converting in the red zone 97% of the time. So sometimes these scooters, though, on campus, when you see them, they're kind of like work of art. Kind of like Georgia's offense right now. Their red zone offense, like I said, 97% work of art. And let me know when you see the bike. How did that get up there? No clue. If it took 2 Aggies to get that bike inside the Porta-John, had to take at least 100 to get it on top of that academic building. Again, I digress. So, top teams for, maybe are doing 40-plus trips in the red zone so far. Some are over 45. The Gators have about 30 attempts. When you only have 30 attempts, you're just not going to score a whole lot. And so your percentage is going to get inflated. When they get to the red zone, TDs make up the bulk of their scores. But with 7 missed opportunities, they're and only having like 13% field goal completion rate, they kind of have a double whammy of sorts. It's like fewer trips, coupled with ineffectiveness in the form of missed field goals. So that's probably how they're able to run up this 4-4 schedule. Fourth down conversions play a part in that as well. Going for it, getting shut down, probably in the red zone, so you don't get any points. So fewer trips, less effectiveness, Not doing well on fourth down, 81st in the country at that, not good. Ironically, though, they're still putting up 30 points per game. We're doing 23. So that should tell you something, whereas we might factor in a little bit better in some of these categories. We're only getting 23 points per game. Schedule has a little bit to do with that, although they're coming off of a pretty bad loss to Georgia. They did put up 20 points on them still, which is pretty good defense. Something to consider, right? Um, so, who should you know? Got to start off with this guy right here, Anthony Richardson. Start right at the top. Passing wise, he's everything and nothing all at the same time. In my opinion, he's only thrown for over 400 yards once. He's been under 100 yards once as well. Most games are between 100 and 200 yards passing. So, is that comparison accurate? I kind of think so. Not to down the guy, he's got his strengths, he's got his weaknesses. His completion percentage varies widely, ranging from as high as 80% to as low as 40%. So, kind of same story. Everything and nothing all at the same time, depending on the day and the game. Choose what you want to choose for what you think you might do against us. But he does try and make up for his volatility, with his legs. We had some trouble with Dart last week, so Richardson, looking at his 414 yards on the ground for the year, 6.2 average on the ground, 6 TDs that he's put together. A little bit concerning. A little bit concerning. We had trouble containing Dart. Linebacker play was a little shoddy. Didn't really have a great spy on him. And if Dart can do that, what can Anthony Richardson do? Worries me quite a bit. Worries me quite a bit. So their rush is a problem. As long as we are not playing the run well, guys like, Montreal Johnson, he leads the team, but not much over Richardson. His 449 yards, 6.4 yards per carry, and 7 TDs, don't overall overly concern me, but I'm not confident that he didn't make a career day out of our weak run defense. So, if not Richardson, Trevor Etienne, brother of Clemson's former player Travis Etienne, might want to take the opportunity to do it as well. They've got some capable guys back there. His 387 yards won't jump out at you, but they are handy. And like I said, overall and all together, they have the 26th best rush attack. I don't think that's going to stop on Saturday. We haven't shown that we can shut it down. So look for their rushing attack to continue their effectiveness. The receiving game is not overly impressive, but it is. But if there's something to watch, it's Justin Shorter. That's your guy. He's 6'4", 223, and he's pretty imposing. So keep your eye on that guy. He's joined by 3 other guys over 100 yards. And for comparison, maybe shocking, A&M's got 7 guys over 100 yards this year. Florida has just the 3, like I said, or technically it's the 4, including Shorter. So I don't think I would have thought maybe that we were going to have 7 guys like that, but they have a little bit more effectiveness on the upper end of that, right? So they've got a few more guys over 300 yards, where I think we only have like 1. They've got 1 over 400 as well, I believe. So they have a little bit more on the higher end than we do, but we spread the ball around quite a bit more. So the trick here really is going to be, can we play the run effectively? If we're going to get gashed over and over and over again, we are going to have a long, long day. Our rush D needs to have a bit more of a bite, but not this kind of bite. Not like Pole Assassin, y'all. Come on. We don't want to have that kind of bite, right? We're just finishing up Halloween, 1-year anniversary of the bite. We want our defense to be effective, not offensive. So we need to shut down the run. We really do. It's something we just have not committed to. We'll get more into that about maybe the game plan to attack these guys more. But it's concern, right? You've seen us get gashed all season, and so you all know just as good as I do that this is a huge concern. So if we struggle to stop their drives, maybe we can outscore them. That's a possibility. And you're listening to me say that, and you're like, what? Outscore them? How's that possible? Well, I'm going to try and make the case. Okay, so let me try and make the case and see what you think if it's possible, and then we'll kind of run into what scores possibly might look like. So what are we up against with our makeshift offensive line and a promising freshman QB? Okay, this is what we're going to have to do if we're going to try and outscore them. So 117th in total D. That's where they sit currently. Um, I had some Gators ripping me on this in the season preview back in August. I said specifically that your D line would be an issue. Here's your chance. Where are you at now? Um, Tell me if I'm wrong. I've been wrong about a great many things so far this season, but I don't think this was one of them, right? So they're giving up 445 yards per game, 6.1 per play. That's quite a bit. They're 116th in rush D. They've been allowing a staggering 206 yards per game, 5.6 per carry. They're 95th in passing as well. That's 253 yards per game and 8 per attempt, which is just shy of an elite number. So opposing QBs are completing 63% of the time. Gators' third down percentage, is basically second to the caboose at this point. They are 130th, so that's dead last minus one. Wow. Now, you thought ours was pretty bad. Theirs is real bad. We have not done well on third down conversions defensively. They're doing worse. So maybe that sounds like a breath of fresh air, but again, the game's got to be played. This is all on paper so far. That's what you get when your opposing teams are converting at just over half of their conversions. That's a staggering number as well. Rashad Terrence is a guy that you need to know. He's leading the team in tackles. He's a safety, by the way. So they're 92nd in tackles for loss, but that has to be expected, when this guy's going to be your leading tackler. Nothing against him, but it is a safety. So you're going to go back to the back four, the back five, however many you're playing back there to get your leading tackler, not a linebacker, not a defensive lineman. Now, for comparison, our leading tackler is not a defensive lineman either, but it's not a safety. Okay? So keep your eye on this guy. He likes to fly all over the field, and he is somebody to be reckoned with. But he reminds me of a time when we were fielding Jackson Appel as our leading tackler from the safety standpoint, or a cornerback, whatever, secondary. Not great. We remember those times. That's why I'm pointing this out. Probably not a great deal. Looking like it's going to be a bit more of a bend and not break kind of situation that they're going to be trying to work with. So we'll see if they can do that. We started this game off -3 as the favorite. That was pretty shocking to me. As the way we've played, we have not scored over 24 points. Our D has just been gashed on the ground. In what world should we be the favorite in this? Well, I think to answer that question, what you've got to do is you've got to take in all that information that I just gave you. Offense is moderately competent. They have some strengths. They have some weaknesses. The defense just probably does not have a strength. It's pretty terrible all around at this point. Not trying to, really dog on these guys, but just by the numbers, you've got to feel good about that. I don't want to feel overly good in our circumstance at this point, but it looks like it could be something that would jumpstart our season a little bit and kick off the last third of this thing. If we're going to win this game, I don't think we have to fully shut down the run, but it would really be nice if that would be something we would really pay attention to. I really can't get over the fact that I just don't feel like we've been using our secondary in the manner in which they need to be used. It's got to be the strongest unit we've got on that side of the ball, right? Does anybody disagree with that? So why are we running two high safeties most of the time, right? And I wrestled with this, and I tried to think about reasons why we would do that, right? So here's the only one I could come up with. because we have the most talent and we have the best part of our defense is in the secondary. You want to put as many of those guys as you possibly can on the field, right? That kind of makes some sense, right? But then I also got to thinking, well, maybe you would want to like hedge some of these guys because you're struggling in other areas, right? Like we're struggling to stop the run. So you could do some things with the secondary perhaps to help stop the run, like moving the safety down. But we're not doing that. Now, if you're going to move the safety down, you could plug some holes. You could play a little bit more man, right? Which my thought would be that since our secondary is so strong, that they would be able to play those man concepts and really be a bit more on an island because they're that capable. Maybe I missed something. Maybe they're not that capable. But I think utilizing something along those lines would go a long way to helping us shut down the run. If we shut down the run, I think we would win this game somewhere in the neighborhood of like, say, possibly 24-10. I think our defense can be that good, but we can't get off the ball on third downs, which is the second key for me. Shut down the run, get off the field on third downs. We do any combination of those two slightly better. I think we at least win this game. Of course, I'm not going to predict that they're only going to score 10 points on us. We just haven't shown the ability to do that. And if they're running the ball well on us, which we've let even South Carolina do, they're going to get the ball down in towards the red zone, and chances are they're going to get at least 1, 2, maybe 3 touchdowns in there. Hopefully not more than that. If they do more than that, we're really maybe going to be in a dogfight. But that's okay. We've been in dogfights all year. Either way, so for the defensive side of the ball, I think that's the game plan. I think that's our approach. I think that's what we got to do to be effective and hopefully match what the offense can possibly do. I don't think it's any secret what we need to do on the offensive side of the ball, though, either. I think we're looking for a competent offensive line and QB play. That's it. I think we saw a competent QB play this last week. Connor had 338 yards. Great outing for this guy. Okay, he helped mitigate some of the issues that the offensive line was having. He was swift getting the ball out. He didn't have a wind-up longer than a tinker toy. And he looked comfortable. The line looked more comfortable. And I'm hoping that maybe a dial-down pass rush from the defensive line, the Gators don't quite have the strength there. We can make some strides there too. So I think if we can get equally good play out of Connor and the offensive line, maybe make 1 or 2 strides, a little bit more effectiveness from them, maybe a little bit more effectiveness out of the running game too, kind of like what we had in the first quarter and a half against Ole Miss. I think we can make some things happen. So overall, thinking about this offense going up against that defense that they're fielding makes me think, well, we really have a chance to do that. Setting up well for Connor to get a little more experience under his belt and the offensive line to get gelled a little bit more. Now, hopefully, it's going to be their second game in a row with all these guys playing. So that would be a blessing. So if we can do these 4 things, I think what ends up happening is something along these lines. So here's my prediction. I think it's reasonable to think we could get about 6 more points out of this. With such an ineffective defense as they're fielding at this point, again, on paper, that doesn't mean it's going to run out that way. Okay, just doing this on paper. I think 30 points is about where we can sit and expect a realistic total to be. Okay, they put up 20 against Georgia. Can our defense do better than that? Are they going to do worse than that? I think the way that we've been playing, I don't think we played many offenses that are much better. I mean, we just got through with Ole Miss, and we were kind of right in that area as well, right? I think that puts them about the same spot. I don't think they're better than that, though. So I would tend to downgrade, from that level. struggle to really find a reason why they're going to, continue to score their 30 points that they've been scoring. Like I said, Ole Miss ended up with what 31. We had 28, I think. So we missed it by 3, getting the late score. That's been our most this year. So I think we can do that same thing. 2 more points. We've been averaging 24, so that's why I was thinking 6 more points. But we showed some progress this last week. I think we're going to show maybe even a little bit more progress. If we can balloon that up to possibly 35, I think it's a guaranteed win. It just feels kind of wrong to predict 35 points out of this offense at this point, and I kind of believe it whenever I see it. So I think 30 is pretty reasonable, and I think them, like I said, doing about that 20 points against Georgia. I look for this score to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 30-24 Aggies. I think we cover on this one as well, and that will be a nice little cherry on top. So, as I said before in the reaction last game, it's always darkest right before the dawn. So hopefully the sun's about to come up. We'll see what happens on Saturday, and then we'll go from there. So here's to it, Ags. See you on the reaction. Thanks, and gig 'em.